last night there was Europa League and Europa Conference League action. And Tottenham Hotspur only lost 1-0, Jim.
They did. They did.
Straight to the Arsenal fans with that line. Everyone just a sound, everyone just turning their iPads off.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
No, not because of you, because you support Arsenal.
Yeah.
And because Spurs got beat, and all the Spurs fans are going to be, oh, fuck this.
Yeah, but from my perspective, 1-0 isn't enough for good old Admiral Alkmaar. So I think Spurs will turn that around. It's a trap. It's very much a trap, basically, laid by Spurs.
Admiral Alkmaar, also managed by Martin Martins. Which sounds like it's the greatest. It's the greatest kind of manager's job in Europe since the great Wolfgang Wolf managed Wolfsburg.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like he's got a parrot on his shoulder.
It does.
Here we go. Go on.
Vish joining in.
Go on.
No, nothing?
No, I thought you were going to go.
Oh,
and then I was
okay.
going to repeat what you said. We can't have silence.
Yeah.
It's a dead
For him
parrot.
to pick up on
Lampard and Gerrard in reality.
Vish picking up on that and really wanting to parrot what you're saying, and then you not saying anything.
Yeah, okay.
It's let him down there.
He's let everybody down, but let us pick it up. Now, Troy Parrott assisted the own goal.
Troy Parrott assisted the own goal.
He did. And he's doing well at RZ. Scored 17 goals this season since joining them from Tottenham, of course, £7 million last summer.
Yeah.
It's a steal, Jim.
He had a really good opportunity to get a second as well, didn't he? Which you could see he really, really wanted, and that would have been a massive, massive game changer. But yeah. And I was surprised by this result, to be honest, because obviously Tottenham started picking up wins, they're getting some players back, but they didn't really threaten. And they also did a sort of quite amazing comedy free kick routine.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
That was so good. Really
Madison
good.
and Son.
Madison and Son.
Son presumably buggered it up, didn't he?
I think so. But they were like, it was like watching mimes try to play football, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, sometimes...
Very clownish.
I reckon we probably see that more often than we realise in professional football, certainly top-tier football, because there are so many players who can just decide between themselves, you know, one of you like flick it up and I'll volley it in.
Yep.
And that was why it was so funny, because Son just thought, yeah, we should be able to do this, surely.
Yeah.
Goal kick.
Son
Scooped out for a goal kick.
Sort of froze, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever they were planning, they just sort of forgot all about.
We don't see the flick and volley free kicks as much as we used to.
No, we
Bring them
don't.
back. Bring them back. They were effective. But the free kick routine,
It's probably low percentage.
Well, it depends who's volleying it.
True.
It reminded me of the free kick routine, which happened, was it Gordon Strachan and someone else for Aberdeen way back in the day? And they called the free kick, and excuse my English here, they called it the fuck up. And so they would pretend to...
I remember that.
So two of them would go to cross the ball,
Yes.
and they'd be like, oh, but what you do? And then obviously the defenders relax and then they whip it in, which...
We've kind of stopped short of saying what I really think we should be saying on behalf of or as a service to our listeners.
AZ aren't a bad side?
Tottenham were fucking terrible. They were bad.
Yeah, Jim just won't say it.
No,
he's worried he might get
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to
home.
chinks the second leg.
Keeping your powder dry.
Jim, you're also worried you're going to get egged on the way home.
And yeah.
No, you're...
So beautifully British about an egging, isn't it?
Yeah, there is actually.
Yeah.
Does this happen in other countries?
It feels, you know what it feels like to me? You know when that person threw a brick at Nigel Farage, don't laugh. Everyone who dislikes Nigel Farage, which is everyone here, was a bit like, well, come on, that's not cricket.
They softened it with the milkshakes.
Yeah, the milkshake's fine.
Yeah.
And the egg just goes up to the limit of being vicious, but stops.
Yeah.
And it makes them look stupid. And then when that guy punched John Prescott and he punched him back, that was lovely stuff, because it's all fair. All's fair.
Well, he egged John Prescott and then he
but then Prescott punched him back, which is kind of I thought that was fine. But I'm just saying, in the US, it's all a bit brutal. It's all a bit violent. There's no egging.
If someone threw an egg on
Trump,
Trump,
sort of controversially expensive in America.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't afford it.
if someone threw an egg on Trump's face, he looks, so kind of orange. I think it would fry.
It might do, yeah.
It would kind of be like,
It'd take a moment, he'd grimace, and it would just fry immediately.
And then slide into his mouth. And then he would just get a napkin out.
I've not seen an egging in person in a long time.
No.
But I very do occasionally see a broken egg on the floor, and I think,
nice.
Well done.
Last day at school used to be all the rage for us.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would have egged Spurs for that performance last night, because they were terrible. With the possible exception of one or two players who I thought did okay.
Well, the tie was obviously settled by Eggval's own goal, if you will. A bit of a comedy one. But look, to be honest, I mean, AZ are not a bad side. But, the Premier League side with the riches and qualities.
Yeah. I mean, they're the favourites, aren't they, Tottenham?
Indeed, yeah. I understand. Spurs have got injuries. Calm down, everybody.
Well, you have to.
And they've got another one with Dominic Solanke.
That was a blow.
And that is a sickening because Spurs are a lot better with him in the team, obviously. But 7 weeks out, and then he limps off after 20 minutes. And just said that it's nothing too severe.
It looked like an impact into his back, which could just be.
And let's hope that's the case because he does make a difference. He's a fine player. Nobody wants an injury for anybody, of course. But Spurs were very poor, Luke.
They were poor, and the reason I'm saying is not just because I watched the game and I was. The amount of times I watch football matches and get pissed off at how crap they are.
You are a Portsmouth fan.
It's true. Yeah. Actually, no, to be fair, last time I went to Fratton Park, the first half was diabolical and the second half was actually really good. So I had a half
Shame you weren't there to see it, though.
Yeah, I got it. Exactly. I was with John Westwood not getting into Luton because I was getting searched. It was a really poor game, and the frustration is obviously that they've got. You wouldn't say a mountain to climb, but perhaps a small hillock to climb at the end of a long walk, so you're a bit tired. So it's not easy necessarily. But the real added layer of frustration is surely that they've picked up a couple of wins recently in the league. So then it's going to be fine now. No one relegated. Nothing's going to happen. You have to prioritise this.
Yes.
You have to be better at this.
Well, I totally agree with you there.
And they have to turn it around against them at home. I suspect they probably will do. But Spurs are no stranger to a really abysmal home performance. We've seen it happen before, haven't we? They lost at home to Leicester, for goodness sake. They got absolutely smashed by Liverpool at home. Okay, Liverpool are a good side. So it's not necessarily going to be the case they're going to turn it around.
But you wouldn't trust them, though.
You've got to do better than that.
But I found Son Heung-min's comments interesting after the game where he said, this wasn't good, this was a real wake-up call. And I thought, how long have you been asleep?
Yeah. I was like, how many times have you woken up?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like an Inception level of layers.
Maybe a disturbed night.
Maybe that's why they're knackered. I mean, I understand, it was a post-match interview, blah, 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 but all joking aside, but you're right, look, this competition is a real chance for Spurs, and I understand winning a cup competition even if you're the side like look at Man City and their pump under Guardiola won the Champions League once, so I get all that chat about cup competitions, blah de blah de blah.
There's just some really good teams left in it, and you've got to be better than that.
But you have to be better than that, and this is such a chance because not only do you get the prestige and the glory of winning a cup competition, which is what it's all about, by the way, you get the enormous added bonus of going into the Champions League next season. So for that kind of tepid performance, you're right. But the tie's still alive, of course.
Of course it is, yeah.
It is. We have to say, but
they are no stranger to a week that totally derails their season. Yeah. Bear in mind, it was only a month ago that within the space of 3 days they were out of both cups, both domestic cups, rather.
Postecoglou was windmilling. Everyone looks at him wrong.
Yeah, and they're on the cusp of... So they've obviously lost here. They've got Bournemouth on the weekend, and then they've got the return leg at home next week, followed by Fulham and then Chelsea. I mean, this could easily be... another contained bit of fuck-uppery.
I know what he's saying. What he's implying there, Marcus, is they've already got Fulham on their mind, haven't they?
Yeah.
Can't get out of there. Can't get out of their head. Absolute Kylie Minogue.
Can we stay in the Netherlands, please? Yeah. Fulham are on the way.
Oh, dear. Ange was rather annoyed when a reporter asked him about Yves Bissouma going skiing on his days off. And Postecoglou replied, seriously, what kind of question is that? No, I didn't know. We were training, but he decided to go skiing.
Yeah, it wasn't quite in that tone.
I thought you were going to do the Australian accent. I'm disappointed that you didn't.
I'm not. Vish is the one who can do the Aussie accent.
He can actually.
I could do it in the style of Nick Hewer if you prefer.
Do it like disappointed Nick Hewer at the end of a task where he saw it unfold terribly and did nothing to stop it.
Yeah. But he's not disappointed. He's actually quite pleased.
He's presenting as disappointed though, isn't it? Because he's got a lot to his locker.
Yeah, I was amused though that Ange didn't seem to know about this, but he then got very, very annoyed. Yeah. And they said, that they can do what they want on their days off.
I thought he was implying he did know.
Yeah.
And that's why he's saying, seriously, what kind of question is that? Of course I knew.
Oh, sorry, yes.
And they're allowed to do what they want. But it was also tempered, but it was seasoned with a little bit of kind of, I'm still quite pissed off he did it.
Yeah, because I thought one of the issues with that was the fact that he was skiing, because skiing's quite dangerous and a lot of players...
It's absolutely ridiculous, Vish, that he's even doing it.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I didn't think it was actually an unreasonable question, but maybe
I didn't.
Postecoglou is deflecting it and using it to sort of send that message to Bissouma, because it's a really risky thing, right?
It is.
Most players are banned from doing that.
If you only listen to Ange Postecoglou's answers, it's impossible to discern what's a reasonable question. And let me just tell you something now. When I played out in New Zealand in 2003,
here we go.
We went away from home against a team called Owakune, which is basically on the side of a massive ski resort.
Yeah.
And we got told in the last training 2 days before, whatever you fucking do, you're not going skiing.
Yeah.
Like, 3 of us went skiing, obviously. Got dropped from the whole squad. And in Premier League, you can do it.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
A story that starts with when I played out in New Zealand. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Oh, there's one for every time. There's one for every subject.
You don't know.
What I had to kick about in the Amazon basin.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you can't do it at fucking basically amateur non-league, not even that Saturday football level, and the guy is so worried about it that people are going to get injured, how on earth is a Premier League player getting away with it? I think Basuma's a bit of a prat anyway.
Well, so this was, there was a bit of semantics involved because Postecoglou asked the journalist who asked the question, was he skiing? It was like, well, he couldn't really tell from the photo. He was just posing on a slope.
Right.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in skis.
Did he have skis on?
No, well, you couldn't see. I mean, if anything, maybe it was just entirely après ski. We don't know.
Could have been like Alan Brazil. Did he on Alan Brazil? Can I share that photo, Eve? Yeah, crop out the skis.
Yeah.
You're good to
I'm
go.
always impressed though with footballers when they have a few days off, how quickly they can get to other places.
Yeah.
And also how willing they are to engage in another really, really physical activity immediately.
Well, there's but also if you
Like when Rio Ferdinand went to the Isle of Wight that time.
just like that. I'm more thinking Robinho at Man City. This morning he turned up to training this morning. We said you can have the rest of the day off. By the afternoon he's on the Copacabana.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think I've told you this story before, but there was a time where Southampton played Arsenal at the Emirates, and a friend of mine got back to the Alwyn Castle, which is a pub which is very, very close to the stadium.
Just down around the road there. Terrible pub.
Russell Martin, who played in the game, was already there.
That is nice. Alan Brazil goes après ski twice a year. He goes skiing twice a year with his family, and you ask him what he's like at skiing, he's like, never been.
Yeah, of course not.
Never done it.
Yeah, he must just look like a snowman sat there.
I'd love to see him on skis. But anyway, Spurs, they faced... and Yves Bissouma was an unused sub in that game, by the way, we should say, last night. There we are. Before we touch on Manchester United, what about Rangers winning 3-1 in Istanbul against José Mourinho's Fenerbahçe?
So
Can't buy a win at the moment in Scotland.
I don't watch a lot of Scottish football, but obviously Rangers and Celtic come across our radar as a show with Europe and all sorts of things. I can't work out if Dessers is... just extremely hot and cold, or every Thursday night he gets, he assumes the power of the greatest players of all time and puts in a performance like that. The goal he scored against Manchester United, that volley over his shoulder, and then yesterday's performance where
he had 2 disallowed goals, brilliant finishes were marginal at best,
and his set up for Cherney's first goal as well,
and the second one,
outstanding.
The first goal that Fenerbahçe conceded was comical stuff. It was absolute pinball wizard. And then Rangers just nipped in.
You feel for them having to explain that to Jose.
Yeah, you feel for them. I mean, if it wasn't for, one of the offside decisions was almost quite literally a toe offside.
Yeah.
And the other one was very narrow as well. If those have stood, right, they could have lost 5-1 at home to Rangers. It was a terrible result.
Indeed. I mean,
Rangers. Last time I saw Rangers, they were losing quite comprehensively at home to St Mirren.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Now, when I say they can't buy a win, obviously they've won recently in Scotland, but you're right. They've lost to Motherwell, St Mirren,
their last three home games,
and then Queen's Park in the cup. Now, I understand Barry Ferguson wasn't in charge there, but I mean, you get the point.
I mean, Mourinho was saying this week, wasn't he, how he wouldn't rule out managing in Scotland? Yeah. Which is obviously just a kind of,
he says that once they play every country.
Exactly. He does. This is unprecedented, though, isn't it?
But Mourinho said we were very bad everywhere. I don't think it's fair to say we were bad defensively because we were bad everywhere. Maybe you laugh, but for me it was a good result because of the way we performed. The result could have been bigger than this one. Which I
totally agree with him.
Again, startling kind of honesty.
It's astonishing to see Jose Mourinho in a position like this, isn't it? Like he had such an aura about him and such a sense of just essentially being an elite level manager who talked himself out of jobs and then moved on to the next one. And the way he's circling the drain here, this is with all respect to Rangers, this does feel like a sort of a low we never thought he'd reach.
But that aura will be back when they win 3-0 at Ibrox, for sure. He'll be right back.
He's a Rangers man, though, Mourinho. Let's be honest.
He'll start. You said that, not me.
He's got his eyes on that job. He's thinking to himself, "Oh yeah, you mentioned that. Okay."
I mean, that would be.
Can I manage them in the second leg?
And you're telling me it is legal tender?
Yeah, I used to hate that when I worked at the sports shop when I was a kid. Anyone brought in a £20 Scottish note, disastrous. Absolutely disastrous.
It is a disgrace how Scottish notes are not.
Yeah, well, no, we were told not to accept them, though.
It's ridiculous.
I know.
Yeah.
Manchester United drew 1-1 away to Real Sociedad. Better from Manchester United. They were on top until Bruno Fernandes punched that penalty. Punched the ball to give the penalty, rather.
He just does everything all the time, mate.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Yeah. He's starting to do the
Mr.
bad stuff now.
Yeah, he's Mr. All Action.
Yeah, he is. He really is. But Xerxes scoring his second goal this calendar year
Nice finish.
was an important one.
Could he have hit it more in the middle of the gool?
I think he's.
It was a nice
Such a
finish,
confusing
but
one.
the goalkeeper looked like he had taken a step the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
Xerxes
you can
spotted that and thought, why bother putting it
I think
in the corner?
I think that's too generous.
Yeah. I can't wait to scuff this into the ground into the goal.
Rasmus Højlund played well.
No, I feel so bad.
I do. I feel a bit sorry for him because he's a young player and his reputation is going down, and he's. When I say he's better than us, I don't necessarily think he's like a world beater or anything.
It should be quite easy to move on, though, because it only costs 72 million. And he's not on big wages, so it's pretty straightforward to move on.
It's as many as that, was it?
Well,
as many millions as that.
I don't think it will end up being 72 because he's not going to hit any targets.
Surely not. Surely.
So probably about
as is tradition for him.
But it's mad to think, though, that...
Do you think Ratcliffe's like, just keep playing him?
Yeah.
Well, he's not going to get any of these.
What's he doing during the week? Get him on the canteen.
Yeah, we can recruit
Get him in the
most of that.
under-21s as well. You run him into the ground.
But it's mad to think that, because I'd sort of misremembered. I thought, did he come through a Danish club and they got it from? No, he was at Atalanta.
He was at Atalanta, yeah.
You know, he's playing.
He'd almost been pre-vetted, really, as someone who with a lot of potential, and obviously, he was highly rated,
And
but
young.
He was never.
The Man United needed to respond to Erling Haaland going to Man City.
That's basically what it was.
But it's we've got Haaland at home, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was also, like, we spoke about it when he first joined, and there was that struggle at the start. Like, he shouldn't be starting as many games, and he's now playing more consistently than before, really. There's a point, and it might be because of the wages he's on, we don't know, and how that plays behind the scenes, but the more you watch of it, it's almost like his teammates have stopped being annoyed by the things he can't do, and just so they'll play the ball forward to him and no one will join him because he's only going to lose it.
Yeah, essentially you've got to put it on a plate for him or he's going to struggle, is how it seems at the moment.
Diego Dalla didn't even do that, and that's why Højlund got very angry in that first half, didn't he? And there was
I thought United showed a bit. I was really impressed by the Sociedad left back Munoz. I thought he was really all action and decent, and I kind of looked into him, and he's been playing at Sociedad his whole career, which you kind of expect with that kind of part of Spain.
In that part of the world, it's a nice part. And the wages can be quite high, actually. People don't, like Athletic Bilbao, sometimes people don't realise that because they don't sign any players, they actually pay the players a bit more.
Yeah.
I know Sociedad do, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And the other thing I was thinking was just that because it was an early kick-off, a lovely treat for the United fans, that.
Yeah.
Because you get out of there about 8 p.m. local time and you're hitting the...
I mean, it'd be a beautiful San Sebastian as well.
Hitting San Sebastian and having a lovely old time. They're probably
a beach right in the city as well.
Yeah, I know.
Hey,
yeah.
It's like
Spain's quite good for that. Barcelona's the same as that.
A Coruña is as well.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the football stadium conveniently located almost like at the end of the beach.
I would say Barcelona's probably the most overrated European city I've been to, though.
Do you think?
Really? Yeah.
Really?
No,
I've
But
never
you
been.
hate graffiti, don't you?
Much more of a Madrid man. Yeah.
Madrid's great as well.
I like the Gaudi stuff, but that's really it.
Yeah. I like both cities.
Yeah, fair enough.
Why not enjoy them both?
Yeah.
I thought Sociedad were surprisingly blunt, actually. I thought they might give Man United a much harder tie, because you look at this and it's one of the teams you'd probably want to avoid in the Europa League.
Yeah.
But they've not shown enough for me to think that United will struggle at Old Trafford. I mean, they might do that under their own steam.
This has got get through against Sociedad with relatively little problem and get knocked out by Lyon in the next round. That's basically what's going to happen.
Another lovely place to eat.
Yeah, at least you get that.
Win-win.
Fingers crossed for another early kick-off for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm aware, by the way, that we're calling them Sociedad, which will probably annoy Andy Brassel.
Sorry, it's Real Sociedad.
That's right. It's Real Society, actually.
Yeah.
Or Royal Society, should I say? I think aren't they the ones that they're called La Real?
That's right.
Doesn't narrow it down over there, does it?
No, it doesn't.
I've no idea. I've no idea. But yeah, so Manchester United haven't lost in Europe this season. So again, in terms of the Europa League, you can see that they're prioritising this over the Premier League. So they're disrespecting the Premier League. We know that they like to disrespect the FA Cup. Yes, that reference is about 25 years old now.
It's literally 25 years old. Can you please just say the Ruben Amorim quote, which is the best one he's done yet?
People look at this competition as the only competition that can save our season. I don't see it like that. Nothing could save our season.
It's absolutely amazing.
Nothing.
So good.
Nothing. Not even us managing to win a major trophy and getting into the Champions League via that route. Not even that would save their season.
He hates Man United more than anyone I've ever known.
Well,
hello.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I reckon maybe he's speaking because they're so money conscious at the moment. I reckon he's speaking like quite literally there. Like, no, I've looked at the numbers. We're in such a dire state. That money's just going to go into a black hole.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's incredible. So, I mean, yeah, I think you said before, Jim, that he just leaves Roy Keane no room to say anything.
Essentially, yeah, I think that might be the plan here.
Mm-hmm.
As you see constantly, there is a cavalcade of ex-Man United players ready to accidentally heap pressure on the team by just calling it as they see it. So if Amorim just gets it out of the way,
describing what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, former Manchester United defender Mikel Silvestre is
there you go.
Yeah. He's claimed that
how far down the list is he?
I don't even played for Arsenal. He claimed that Manchester United should hire Roy Keane to work alongside Ruben Amorim.
I'll be in favour of that for sure.
The thing is with Roy, he always treated everyone exactly the same way, and I think that was the problem, wasn't it? That's how he got respect. If you treat everybody the same, no problem.
What is the point of having those two working together? It's just going to turn into a rap battle of calling the team shit.
Yeah, exactly. Negative reinforcement.
That's exactly why I'm for it.
Yeah. Treating everyone the same in that context is essentially going to be expecting them to do things they can't do. It's not going to be a positive thing.
It's going to be a big game on Sunday as well.
Well, it is a big game on Sunday because they've got Arsenal.
Whatever happens, it will be funny.
Yeah, they play on Sunday. Will we see former Arsenal youth team player Chido Obi come off the bench or even start for Manchester United? Because Højlund hasn't scored in 19. Okay, jokes, he scored last night, but it's 2 in this calendar year. Garnacho hasn't scored in 22 matches.
That's an amazing stat.
Well,
that's an even weirder stat than the Højlund one, because Garnacho genuinely looks like he can do an impression of a good player occasionally.
Indeed. So, I mean, with Obi, there's a bit of excitement for him. I mean, he's not played that much, of course. And again, if you're sort of thinking, we're pinning our hopes on a teenager, I mean, blimey.
He's looked good though when he's come on. He's certainly sort of, he's not had a goal yet, but he's not played that many minutes. But he looks the part of a striker. He clearly knows the role instinctively. I think.
Vish, you didn't seem sure about what
he's likely to make a little bit of an impact at some point in the season.
Yeah,
probably on Sunday, based on how the narrative works.
He's he did pretty well against Fulham, but Fulham was probably the first time that I got the sense from him that he felt like he got into a game, in part because he had the first chance which he fluffed, but he was in then straight away.
He's strong as well, isn't he? Clearly, and he's 17,
but he's still so young, and he kind of runs around like a youngster, and it's obviously quite damning that he ends up playing pretty well at the back end of that Fulham game. And Højlund got nothing, and basically had nothing throughout that. I can't see him hopefully this comes to bite me in the arse as a Manchester United fan. I can't really see him having an influence on Sunday, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, it could be quite sombre beyond the fact that one team wants to get one over on the other because it's not really for anything.
The most depressing game of the season so far in the Premier League was Tottenham 1, Man United 0. If Man United somehow shithouse and limp their way to a 1-0 over Arsenal, it'll be right up there as one in the top 3 depressing games of the season for sure.
Yeah, well, Arsenal have to sort of make sure that they stay in second. That's a really drab thing to be playing for, but obviously it sounds silly given the scoreline of the Pancake Day massacre on Tuesday, but I'm not sure that even counts because PSV was so bad and that was such a weird set of circumstances, and Arsenal had a lot of luck going their way in that game. I'm still not sure where the goals are coming from. I know that sounds mad after a 7-1, but
that 7-1 was funny. Peter Bosz on the bench looked exactly like Stanley Tucci looks throughout the entirety of Conclave.
Yes,
just sitting there, mostly on a bench, looking miserable.
Whereas you want
getting paid very well.
Yeah, if you're going to have a manager a bit like Stanley Tucci, you want him to be looking like he is in Hunger Games.
Big time.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
or Devil Wears Prada is good in that.
Yeah, he is. I'm really disappointed. Just so I thought
I mentioned Hunger Games.
No, because I thought the only reason you were bringing up Chido Obi is because you were going to make some kind of Star Wars pun, and I was waiting for it and it never came.
Well, sometimes I tee everybody up if you don't take the chances.
Yeah, true. Yeah. You're so selfless as a broadcaster.
I am.
I've often said that.
I like that. You like a setup is an assist.
Yeah. I also like the fact that it's suddenly my fault again.
So the reason I mentioned the goals thing, just to bring it back to that briefly, is that last season Arsenal won at Old Trafford, but it was only 1-0, and it was Man United were really sort of in the doldrums at that point. Arsenal had to just make sure they got as many points on the board as possible, but they still kind of played within themselves, and that is sort of how they approach it at Old Trafford, and it has been that way for a long, long time. So I think this will be quite a cagey game, actually.
I think the mood will dictate it. I think all it would take is that first, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're familiar with this sound, but it's not our fans.
That's what it used to be like at Arsenal. The fans would just be waiting for the first mistake to happen, right?
It'd be quite interesting to see if, I suppose, things like that, things like the crowd, the atmosphere generally, and also just Arsenal's general annoyance with how the league has gone, if it unlocks a bit of a ruthlessness, almost like a kind of a Sunday brutality, just to really hammer home the gap between the two sides.
And they've had time to play in this system now as well. Obviously, they're used to Mourinho being up front. They've improved in terms of performances gradually in the league games, and obviously quite emphatically against PSV. So perhaps we'll see a bit more of that. I mean, Declan Rice has been making some really good runs, in particular being an option in the box a lot. So yes.
Now at Old Trafford on Sunday, one Manchester United supporters group, the 1958, has urged match-going supporters to wear black to Old Trafford because the club is dying.
I was annoyed to read that because it made me feel a little bit bad about taking the piss out of them so much.
Right.
Because obviously Man United fans are having a nightmare at the moment, and they've had their fun. Let's be absolutely clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now it's getting quite bad, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's now getting to the point where they've been absolutely filleted as a club under the Glazers, and now someone else has come in, and rather than make it better or kind of salve the wound in any way, they've just done another wound. And it's making them a laughing stock. At least the Glazers never said anything.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Now it's, you see how the sausage is made, and it's made hatefully.
It's bad.
And I feel sorry for Man United fans, being serious about it. And a thing that always strikes me that a lot of people don't realise is that the Glazers actively take money out of the club. And no other
I think
club
Man United fans do realise that.
Man United fans realise it. I'm sure a lot of
Tim
fans
Lovejoy
of other clubs, Tim Lovejoy doesn't. Absolutely not.
No.
It's like a fucking lamprey eel on the side of a fish, just sucking stuff out of it. It's horrible.
Yeah. Oh dear. Right, I think we should move on. Coming up after this, Pep returns to his favourite Premier League ground, and Pitbull qualifies for the World Cup.
Compañero Elliot. ¡Gol! El gol de los rojos lo hizo Harvey Elliot. El pase fue de Darwin. El gol lo hizo Elliot. El gol lo hizo Elliot.
It's so good.
Really good. It was,
properly tuneful.
That was Clive Tilsley working for a Spanish broadcaster,
presumably
singing Harvey Elliott's winner.
Also, properly, genuinely articulating how we all feel about PSG as well, which is nice.
It was very nice. Nottingham Forest versus Manchester City tomorrow at 12:30. Forest have only won one league game in 5.
Yeah, it's disappointing because we're now in a position that we kind of feared as neutrals, and Jim and Vish aside. I mean, let's be honest, Vish got absolutely no dog in the
I'm more of a
European fight.
I'm well more into it than him.
All right, I was thinking on behalf of myself that I didn't want the inevitable to happen. The inevitable was that Forest and Bournemouth would start running out of steam with about 10 games to go.
Yeah,
and this is exactly what's happening. I hope it doesn't revert to type and we just have, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City and Chelsea in the top 4.
It feels like the story of every season, though, doesn't it? That there's something like this threatens to happen and they fall away.
Well, Villa didn't.
Yeah, true, but it's
Leicester didn't.
It's a rarity. Yeah, but they're rarities, aren't they? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and annoyingly, if Man City win this, they go above Forest into third, and that starts to look a bit more kind of normal, doesn't it? And of course, if Chelsea beat Leicester, which they are going to, that would put them fourth in that situation. So Forest could go out of the top 4 altogether.
All this chat, and it ends up being Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea.
By the way, I love the fact that the Europa Conference League is so bad that Chelsea have now broken their European record for the most games won on the run. No one's noticed.
No, exactly.
No one cares or has even noticed.
I know,
They're on a record-breaking run in Europe.
Enzo Maresca cares because he started Cole Palmer and sort of brought Enzo Fernandez off the bench, and I thought, okay, he's well aware of some of the well, not anger, but some of the criticism he's receiving. He's thinking, okay, a trophy win would be nice. Okay, put a couple of the £100 million lot in.
Chelsea are also doing a thing where they surprised us all at the start of the season by actually doing pretty well, and now they're also kind of reverting to type as well. A little bit inconsistent, a little bit all over the place.
But this is a great chance for Manchester City, though, in their race for the top four, which is of all the clubs that need top four, they're there, aren't they? Because this is crucial stuff to think of.
Are they struggling to make ends meet?
Yeah, well, I mean, with that expenditure, then possibly. Now, last season, Man City won at the City Ground. Pep said Forest would have scored their chances if they had a better pitch. It was dry from the weather and the sun, and that helped us. So, the weather's been pretty good, actually, in the kingdom of late.
It's been very nice.
The weather and the sun.
Yeah.
It's been very nice.
But presumably means the thing up in the sky, not the ghastly newspaper. Now, Man City and Chelsea will head to the US this summer for the Club World Cup, of course. There is reportedly $1 billion worth of prize money on offer. Oh, they have to make a big old incentive, don't they?
Yeah, they're going to dangle it in the middle of the pitch like in Squid Game.
Yes, exactly.
That'd be great, actually.
And, but it's presumably Chelsea with the size of the squad there, just on numbers, they've got a better chance.
On each other's shoulders, get up there.
Big trench coat.
Indeed, yeah. The $1 billion worth of prize money, I should say, is going to be split among the 32 participating teams, which I think is a bit of a shame.
It still could be. I think it's between 60 and 90 million that it.
$150 million.
Whoever wins it,
the winners get $150 million, roughly that.
I also think it's this kind of stuff. I was reading the other day that you had all this chat about the amount of games players are having to play, and all the rest of it. I was seeing adverts the other day for Premier League clubs post-season tours in the Far East. So as soon as they finish the Premier League season, doing 2 or 3 games out in the Far East.
There's no summer tournament, mate. That's why. I think that's why people love.
There is a summer tournament.
Well, as in the international tournament. But I think maybe that's why. Some players, if
imagine how unmotivated you would be playing those games.
It's worth noting as well that it's not pre-season, is it? This is separate from
post-season.
Post-season.
So as soon as they finish the Premier League season,
is the sweet spot for some players is to be like the sort of third choice striker or goalkeeper or fourth choice centre half for England or something, and basically like it'll feel like a bit of time off. Yeah, I'll be training and all the rest of it, but I'll be good vibes. By
the travel and the being away from your family, like that's crap, isn't it?
It depends if you like your family.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But the point being that if you've really just busted your nuts for the whole season and you're in chance of winning something, or and you're going all the way to the wire, and you think, God, you have a bit of a relax and go, God, that's over now. Yeah. And you've got to go and do this lot. Yeah. Rubbish. Absolutely ridiculous.
Rubbish.
And I would fairly happily include the Club World Cup in that, actually.
Well.
But we'll be covering it. But
Man City have to go to Nottingham Forest. They have to make the big trip from Manchester to Nottingham.
I think Man City will win that game. There you go.
Yeah,
I think they'll beat them.
So do I.
It's a shame for Forest because you talked, factually about them having a bit of a dip in form and results and so on. Because I mean, look, and it could just be that they might pick it up. There is, the idea of going sort of, not relentlessly because they're not challenging for the title, but that brilliant run that they had up until this kind of point was outstanding. Nobody expected it, but I thought with the way that Nuno likes to play, I thought actually that would help with regards to potentially fatigue and so on. But I suppose that with the levels of focus, that is it's almost like the emotional fatigue as well.
And also it's almost like they've done too well at it, so people expect it now and they're planning for it. They did score 3 goals against Newcastle. I know they lost that game, but they can.
There was a bit of something.
Score with a little bit of a lightning strike, can't they?
Yeah.
I think Kuzanov has been very impressive for Man City, and he has actually helped to shore it up a little bit. I know he had that nightmare start on his debut, but the new signings are gradually starting to actually take a bit of an effect.
So it doesn't bode well for Forest, Jim.
Well, possibly not, but who knows?
Man City's beaten from memory, Man City beat Forest pretty handily when they're in that run of terrible form. They just kind of reverted to type and blew Forest away. Forest were really poor. To me, this is a Man City win, but we'll come on to that in a minute.
Yeah, especially the way that it seems that Forest have been clinging on a bit in the league.
Yeah. Better news, though, from international football chat is that Gianni Infantino announced this week that the 2026 World Cup final in the US will feature a halftime show. I know what you're thinking, because I'm thinking the same thing. But there will be a fan festival in Times Square on the weekend of the final as well. That would be great. Artists involved will be chosen by Coldplay.
Now, there's the next opportunity.
Yeah, well, I sort of think to myself, surely old Chrissy Martin can't see past Pitbull for this. But why the artists involved being chosen by Coldplay? That's interesting.
Well, Coldplay have basically been taken on board as like creative consultants or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Because presumably their agent was able to argue best that they should be doing it.
So is it just them playing their back catalogue in its entirety?
I love the conversation of FIFA get in touch and Chris Martin's like, yeah, I'll be up for playing. No, you're not playing.
Yeah.
There's no way we're having you playing.
I think they'll be involved.
Yeah.
I think this will be a player manager type thing.
Yeah.
Essentially, they've gone like, how can we let's get something that's really, really not controversial, keep it really, really safe, really bland. Ed Sheeran's not available. Yeah, we'll get Coldplay. So
some of Chris Martin's comments more recently in gigs have been pretty controversial.
Oh, really?
I'll love you that. Yeah.
I'm not aware.
Things about imperialism in India and all that kind of stuff.
I see.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Bono-esque, I would say.
Right. I see. So, I mean, the Super Bowl halftime show is half an hour long, right? Presumably, they're not talking about having a longer halftime.
But then how can you squeeze it into 15 minutes?
Exactly.
They're not able to, are they? I would. I'm not saying I'm going to come down in support of this actually, but what I will do is offer a little bit of balance and say it's in the US. Halftime entertainment in big sporting events is very much a tradition there.
Local culture should be reflected in these tournaments as well.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. Mm-hmm. The halftime in the Super Bowl in the NFL Super Bowl game is longer for that reason. They're obviously going to have to do that here. Is it why I like watching football? Not really. Is it another step along the road of how can we get people who don't give a shit about football anyway to watch football? Fine, but I mean ultimately that's not the point of it. So it's a shame, but I do understand that in this case, that is part of the sporting culture in the US, and you have to kind of reflect that a bit, even if it's not fashionable to say so.
Yeah. And on that, they are the final. If needed, they'll have hockey style penalties rather than the traditional ones.
That'd be great.
I'll be all over that.
Could they move it? Could they move it down to Pitbull Stadium in Florida? Could do that, couldn't they?
Well, if it's built in time, if it's extended in time. Coming up after this, more power to David Moyes. Wolves versus Everton Saturday, 8 p.m.
You said that a bit like Alan Brazil then. Wolves.
Yeah. Do it like Alan Brazil would.
Whoa. What do you mean?
Just say Wolves in the style of Alan Brazil's Woe.
Wolves in the style of Alan Brazil's Woe. We'll be playing Everton.
Absolute idiot. Like primary school idiot.
Tomorrow at 8 p.m.
It's a bonus, isn't it?
It is.
When you've got small kids in the house and you're knackered by Saturday at 8 p.m, you think what a bonus this is.
Yes, indeed. I mean, perhaps a few months ago we might not have felt that, but because of Moyes, we do feel it's a bonus. Everton, the only team alongside Liverpool who haven't lost in their last 7 league matches. They last lost against Aston Villa back in mid-January. He's got them playing, Vish. He's got them playing.
He does. I'm kind of happy for Everton fans, but annoyed for us because this game should really have been, a bit of a scrap, a lovely, a Saturday night. Fight night?
Yeah.
Saturday night
Love
scrap.
that. Get it on DAZN.
Yeah. Send it to Saudi.
But, seriously, we'll start doing that in a few years.
Probably. But there was, the fact that they've been able to not only create that space between them and not even the relegation zone, but Wolves to be there 10 points and looking above and, quite close to mid-table in terms of points, despite the fact they're 16th. But Wolves have also picked it up a bit and Ipswich have fallen away. So even they're kind of safe at the moment. And so I don't really know what to expect from this game beyond I'm a bit sad that Cunha went a bit mad again. But
I know what you mean, Yeah, no, it is... We've come to expect that from him now, I suppose.
Yeah.
They seem like a different team without him, though.
Yeah.
Just in terms of vibes, I haven't seen the stats, but in vibes, they seem like a different team without him. And there's not really much at stake in this game.
No.
The gap is 10 points, right? It's completely separate now.
There's more at stake. There's more at stake for Wolves, isn't it? Because they want to do what Everton have done and power away from that bottom 3. They've got the chance to make themselves a weird little sort of kind of island almost, or a little holdout in disputed territory where they're just sort of floating away. And no one's bothering them.
Yeah. And this could be the weekend, where it's kind of done and dusted. Because if Wolves are able to beat Everton despite Everton's improved form in a kind of very, very winnable home game, and Leicester don't beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, right? Mm-hmm. And Ipswich are playing Palace away as well, and Palace have been decent. Then that's that, really.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, because we're very confident about Wolves staying up, and I think most people
it'll be 8 points at that point.
Well, exactly. I just wonder though, football fans being football fans, I'm sure Wolves fans are going, blimey, everyone's talking us up here.
Yeah.
But yes, we're talking them up, but we're also suggesting that I think any Leicester fan would think it would be rather fanciful for them to catch Wolves and Ipswich again, it feels like a couple of bridges too far, quite frankly, which as much has been made of.
And from Everton's point of view, they're on 32 points. The 3 teams above them are on 33. If they keep up their form, they can just power away from the bottom end of the table, and that's got to be the motivation, right?
Well, it has, and again, every place is worth a few million quid. So when people might think, well, they've got nothing to play for, I totally get that. But there's always something to play for, and interesting that the club's ownership will be making significant changes at Everton this summer, which should give Moyes greater transfer power, and Moyes will want as many millions as possible to spend in the summer.
That's what he said in his interview.
Yeah.
Everton are the second most informed team in the Premier League.
Wow.
I think it's only behind Liverpool. They're in better form than every other team in the league. At this stage of the season, it's absolutely vital.
And Everton have been linked with Tammy Abraham this week.
Nice.
Steady.
Bring him home.
And Richarlison.
Oh!
That,
I think one is too high and the other's too low. I don't think you can get Tammy. Don't bring Richarlison back.
Bruce Forsyth over there.
Higher than Abraham, you say?
Oh, we say Richarlison.
So much better than last season.
They do well. Oh, what bad luck. Right, Wolves, though. Yes, so they're playing Everton, and then they've got Southampton before the international
break. The voucher. Get the voucher out for the lads. Hey?
But that's the thing, though. Wolves, get a result here. Then you've got the Southampton voucher.
I'd love to start a movement where the away fans they print vouchers and they start waving them every time Wolves score against Southampton, like Chelsea fans used to do with their passports when Fulham came to town when Fayed was managing.
That's right. Which was disrespectful to a terrible man.
He was an awful man.
Yeah,
he was
and we knew this before, and obviously since everything. Yeah. But anyway, I don't want to get.
So what you like about him because he's dead, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, we knew he was an awful man when he was alive.
True.
Of course.
Chelsea fans also, I remember, used to wave £20 notes.
Did they?
Yeah, as well. Again, I'm pretty sure might have even been before Abramovich came in, but they had the reputation as being their kind of the West London club, so they used to wave the £20 notes at all the away fans and stuff.
How about that?
Yeah. It's weird, like Chelsea aren't that popular.
Yeah, they're popular among Chelsea fans.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, I'll sod it. Jim, press the button.
Dean Smith also says you're an encyclopedia of football.
A what?
An encyclopedia of football.
I don't know what that means.
Yes, it's that time again. I am thrilled to be in the hot seat for this one, hosting what promises to be an absolutely scintillating
it's a heavyweight clash
mashup. Jack's Encyclopedia. Vish has been unbeatable. Luke has got the bit between his teeth and above his lip. Marcus, you can never discount. He's fired up. He wants to get back in contention here.
I feel like massively deflated after last time I went up against Vish, and it was like going up against a brick wall. I might have lost all my confidence from that.
It's a tough
I'm not worried
matchup.
about Marcus.
Confidence
in his own
to
head.
win against Brandy Brassel last week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so and I think it's harder as a
that was like fucking
game
Kurt
as well.
Zuma versus that cat.
That was Spurs United, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah. So last week, in Vish's absence, Marcus, as he's mentioned already, beat Andy in a mid-season friendly. But today, the belt is
not even post-season.
Yeah, Marcus, we could here. If one of us is down and out, we could team up. There's nothing in the rules to stop us.
Yeah, I've often said that on behalf of the Lib Dems.
So when you go out in a minute, will you help me?
I will.
Yeah. Okay.
Or chaos with Vitusha Hunter.
Forming a dirty coalition.
What Man United subject we got first?
So if you've not heard Jack's Encyclopedia before, it's a simple game of categories. If any of the guys go too slow, I will play Gary Neville orgasming, and that will leave them 7 seconds to answer the question. So. Marcus, you went first last time, so
the tradition is that
fuck off with your traditions.
Yeah, okay.
He's there hosting and do what you want.
Yeah, okay. Indeed. Marcus, you went first last week, so Luke, I'm going to have you go first this week.
Oi.
I was going to say the tradition is the guy with the biggest tash goes.
Yeah, thank you very much. You were right all along.
Thanks.
Again, what are the chances? It's mad to me how often he's right.
No. That'll be the title of my book. I was right all along.
Yeah. Marcus is right about everything on a hat.
Yeah.
The 20 oldest players to play in the Premier League this season.
Oof, that's a good one.
It is a very good one. And you said I'm going first, right?
I did.
Okay. I'll go with Ashley Young. He's got to be in there.
39.
Is he the oldest?
Actually old.
Actually, you don't have to tell me if he's the oldest.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Adam Lallana.
Adam Lallana is in there, 36.
James Milner.
James Milner, yes, 38.
Johnny Evans.
Johnny Evans is in there at 36.
Oh, well played.
Good round so
Fabianski.
far. Yep, 39.
Jamie Vardy.
Jamie Vardy is 38 and he's in there.
Bloody hell, guys! It's quick.
Very good.
Oh, jeez. I think that when he made his debut for the team he played for, I can't quite remember off the top of my head, he was old. The goalkeeper, Neto?
Neto is correct because he played for Bournemouth in the Premier League before making his loan to Arsenal.
Whoa.
Lucky guess, isn't it?
Kyle Walker.
Yep. 34.
Fraser
Spring chicken.
Forster.
Fraser Forster
Lovely.
is also in there. This is such a good round, guys.
How many's left?
There are enough left. There's a decent amount left.
Kieran Trippier?
Kieran Trippier
Nicely
is
done.
in there.
Nicely done.
Dubravka.
Oh, well played. Danny Welbeck.
No Wells in there.
Sickening.
Just Moore and
So Marcus out.
Vish left. Yeah, Marcus out.
Oh, fuck. I can't think of anyone. It's old players. All you got to do is name old players. It's not even that
Yeah,
tough.
Welbeck's
Loads of old
22nd
people.
on the list.
You can guess. Something for the old people.
I can't believe we've gone.
Welbeck has shot my confidence because the only guess I can think of is Casemiro.
Oh. Yeah,
So, Vish, this is you for the round.
for the round. If he gets it wrong, we're back in. But
Ben Mee. Come
Ben
on.
Mee.
Well played.
Vish, this is why you got
that's
all
why-
those
that's why
belts.
the best. Go on, who have you got?
So we've got Aaron Cresswell, 35. Alex McCarthy, also 35. Craig Dawson, 34. Idrissa Gueye, 35. Michael Antonio, 34. Robin Olsen, 35. Seamus Coleman, 36. Willian.
Oh, Willian.
That's a shocker.
Yeah.
A lot of those players are the same age in my head. Like, when I first saw them.
I'd have thought Welbeck was 34 by
Yeah,
now.
Welbeck was 22nd on the list, and Casemiro is 40th, as he's only 33 years old.
He's literally-
He's old
He
as-
moved.
Yeah. It's a fair guess. It's a fair guess, but ultimately the champ takes the round.
Shit, Marcus.
Yeah.
It's happening again.
Come on, Vish.
It's happening again.
Fuck this
Every permanent Celtic or Rangers manager since the year 2000. Vish, you go first. Going to go that
bloody
way
hell.
around.
Wow, that's fucking hard.
It is hard. It is
Yeah,
hard.
Ange Postecoglou.
Ange Postecoglou is very much there.
Since the year 2000, every Rangers Celtic manager, Neil Lennon.
Neil Lennon is there.
Brendan Rodgers.
Brendan Rodgers is, of course, there. Brother Brendy.
Gordon Strachan.
Gordon Strachan is present and correct.
Ali McCoist.
Ali McCoist. Oh, he's there.
I thought I got it wrong for a minute. I thought, bloody hell, my memory.
I've just literally written something down and I can't fucking read it. Just doing it so quick. Ronnie Taylor.
Ronnie
Oh,
Taylor.
nicely done.
Lovely.
Stephen Gerrard.
Stephen Gerrard is there.
Philippe Clement.
Oh, you
Clement.
absolute bastard. I had that written down.
Perverted
But you've
answer,
saved me
yes.
one there because I thought his name was Stefan Clement.
I think you may have got that.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Vish was only doing surnames in the last
Right, it's
round.
up to Jim. It's up to Jim.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is this late enough in the day? Was it late enough since 2000? John Barnes?
John Barnes
Well
is there.
played.
Well,
Well
done.
bloody well
I thought that
played.
might be 90s.
Bloody well played.
Walter Smith.
Alec McLeish.
Very good.
Bloody hell, lads. I'm out of my depth here, I'm telling you.
You've got 8 left, actually. 8 left to go.
Martin O'Neill?
Yep.
Martin O'Neill.
Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
Van
Really
Bronckhorst.
good.
So you're all still in. This is very, very good.
Marcus, this is on you now.
Pedro Caixinha.
Oh, that's excellent.
It is excellent, and it's correct.
That's excellent, Marcus. How many were there in total?
There are 19 in total. There are 5 left.
Bloody hell. Old firm managers.
I'm going to have to
It's
hit you with the old.
Chelsea, a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Barry Ferguson.
He's not
He's
permanent.
not permanent.
Oh,
so
come on.
unfortunately,
That is outrageous
wrong.
stuff.
Vish, over to you.
I'm out then, so it's you two.
You are out.
Marcus, come on.
Paul Le Guen?
Well played.
Paul Le Guen is in there.
How many left?
4 left.
Marcus. Old firm, mate. It's right. It's all you.
I know, but I've not got anything.
Shit.
This is so frustrating.
You can do it, Marcus. You were born for this.
Think of your bacon
But
round.
I am. You think of the bacon round. I am going to have to give you the countdown very shortly. Give you a bit of grace.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final.
Wim Janssen, I think it's before. Can't believe that.
Wow.
Go on, who did we miss?
You missed Dick Advocaat.
Oh, fucking hell.
You missed Mark Warburton.
Mark Warburton, I can picture him, I couldn't know.
Beale.
You missed Michael Beale. Look at him showboating.
Yeah.
And you missed Tony Mowbray.
Okay.
Celtic, yeah.
Wow.
This is outrageous at this
He's
point.
untouchable.
yeah.
He's untouchable. He is untouchable.
I had that round to Marcus all over it. I'm
Yeah.
actually quite stunned by that.
I couldn't think. I could picture Warburton and I couldn't remember his bloody name.
I couldn't compete on the old firm. That's very, very difficult.
Oh, you did a good job of it, mate.
Oh dear.
You stayed in there for a long time.
Well, there we are. Well played,
Well played,
Vish,
Vish.
once again.
Untouchable.
Outrageous.
So bad.
Outrageous.
Oh, dear.
We're going to need to hire more Ramble presenters.
We are,
will.
yeah.